It's Design Behind the Mask with your host, Carl Waldron. This is a show about design and your favorite fandoms. First, we discuss a fancy design thing, then I give you 2 fun recommendations based on our topic. You come for the voice, you leave with a choice. Sound good? Let's start the show. Hello, fans of fandom. It's Design Behind the Mask. I am your host, Carl Waldron, and today is a bit different, but still just as fun, I'd hope. I'm going to share some personal stories of my fandom. Don't worry, it's all positive, no frowns, all smiles. I don't have a recommendation portion at the end, but maybe by the time I get to the end of the story, I'll have one. I think I have one. I don't have one, but we'll get there. And I'm rambling. Let's start it. Come on, let's go. Today's topic is how I started loving comic books and video games and superheroes and stuff like that. How I was shoved into a fandom, basically. And the person who got me into my fandom was my mother. My mom used to collect DC trading cards. Now, I don't know why she did. I never asked her. I should ask her after this. After I record this, I'm going to send this to you. If you're listening, I love you, number 1. 2, I love you. That's 2 times. And 3, thank you. Because this changed my life. Now, I'm old. I was going to say older, but I'm old. So maybe my memory is not serving me perfectly, but this is how I remember getting into fandom. So, my mother had a box of DC trading cards. I don't know why. I'll ask her. But one day, she just handed me this little white box. And I was like, what is this? She said, go ahead and open it. And I opened it, and everything changed. Everything was different. You know, they say that moment, and things are different now. That's when I opened that box, everything changed. I was scrolling. I was swiping. How do you say you were shuffling? There you go. I was shuffling through this deck of superheroes and supervillains. All these old Hero Heritage cards, and I see Shazam. It's this powerful card of Billy Batson and Shazam standing in front of some what is it? I don't know the name of it. Statues? They're not statues. They're like busts of demons or whatever. It's this DC Comics card. It's a beautiful card. It says Shazam on the front. I fell in love immediately with these trading cards. I mean, it kicked off a part of my life that I genuinely miss, where I would leave the house with very little money and come back with a deck of Marvel cards. Or I didn't have DC cards, I only had Marvel cards. I would go to the corner store, and whatever little money I had that I would either, scrape together from change in the couch, or that I begged out of my parents, or that I got from my angel investor, aka my dad, who would send me on newspaper runs on Sunday, and I would get to keep the change sometimes, and then I would get an allowance. I would take all that money, all that green paper, and I would take it to this corner store in Brooklyn, New York, that basically sold knickknacks, toys, all these weird things. But they had the trading cards, and I would go there not every Sunday, but quite a few Sundays, and just spend all my money on trading cards. And I tell you, it was an obsession. I couldn't stop. Every time a new foil pack would come out, or some new like Topps version, or I had so many different versions of cards that came out that I was obsessed with. Specifically, I would love to read the power stats on the back. Now, if you're younger and have not experienced these sort of X-Men or Marvel or DC trading cards, they were They were like baseball cards. Another old reference. They were trading cards. Think Magic the Gathering cards. I guess that's a good allegory. It's not really, but on the back, let's say it's a Spider-Man card. On the front, there'd be some amazing, freaky, great piece of art of Spider-Man with his name on it. And then on the back, there was a short description of Spider-Man, and then an infographic on his power set. And, it would say, oh, he's this strong and he's this smart. He's 5 strong and he's 2 smart. Number 2, not T-O-O or T-O. T-O-O? Too smart? T-O-O? Who knows? Someone knows. Someone's screaming it at me. I'll say he's 3 smart and he's 5 strong and he's 1 fast, and you're just like, how do I measure this? And then you'll get a card like Galactus, whose stats were, I don't know, off the damn chart. Like the lines would just go straight across the card. I loved those cards. The cards where you're just like, oh, this guy just surpasses everybody. And what these cards did was help facilitate the nerdiest conversations you can possibly have on a playground. So we as in my nerdy friends and I, shout out to Scott, Willie, Xavier, and David, my core group of friends from first grade to high school. And as high school does, it splits people apart. But that's not true. Yeah, it's true. We used to go to the playground and have the nerdiest conversations as to who would win in a fight. You know the nerd combos. Oh, Spider-Man can beat Wolverine. No, Wolverine would kill him. No, Galactus would beat everybody. And I would enter these conversations with my cards as data. Now, who would have known that I was being a little like UX UI designer as an 8 and 9-year-old? Because as a designer who works on products or brands or whatever you're designing, the only way to ensure that your design will get passed through is to have data to back up your decisions. Now, that's why you always test a product before you put it on the market. You put it in front of who? Not the stakeholders. You put it in front of the people who are going to end up using it. That's right. You go directly to the user base and you have them test your product. You have them test your marketing campaign. You have to test whatever. You test your stuff. And if it passes the test and you have solid, quantifiable data to back up your decisions, you walk into every meeting with your head held high. Because guess what? Whoever's planning on buying this thing liked it. So you can then turn stakeholders and C-suite people's opinions of your design. You can say, well, I appreciate your thoughts, but 35% of the people we tested who are the core user group do not agree with you, or they do agree with you, and the other however many percent is left agree with me. So I think we should move ahead with this, and we will table your feedback for our retrospective at the end of this sprint. Boom! Look at that. That's how you handle that. Maybe not as flippant, but I'm trying to entertain you. And I'm off topic once again. Cards. The amazing part of this card is they were a portable fandom. I can take them anywhere. And I took it very seriously. So that box that my mother handed me evolved from that into a folder of plastic. We used to call it just quote unquote plastic, where the plastic sleeves where you put the cards in. And I had that. I would take that with me to school, this big heavy notebook of trading cards with, my favorites, Wolverines, they had team up ones with like Venom and Sabretooth. And there was this crazy scenes that these artists would just depict on these cards, and it was amazing. Then on the back it had lore. I have tried to find an equivalent card selection these days, but everyone just makes like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic the Gathering style trading card games where you're battling each other versus just like baseball card style. Here's some stats on this hero or this villain. We need to get back to that. And I think Secret Identity, the design agency built to design for pop culture, I think one of our internal projects is going to be no, I don't think so. You heard it here first. Secret Identity will be creating a set of our own trading cards with, stats on the back, engaging art on the front. I'll find some really great artists and see if they are available to make some superhero art for these cards, and it'll be, some limited edition stuff. And what I'm thinking of is to kind of move it back to Magic the Gathering, Magic the Gathering. They sell these ornate, unique decks. It's called Secret Lair. I have a deck of Magic the Gathering cards from the Secret Lair. What's it called? I don't know what it's called. That's sort of limited edition. There you go, limited edition deck, and it's basically like foil covered with unique art, and they're cards that you can use in your Magic the Gathering deck, but I wouldn't because they're beautiful. I bought the Black is Magic set, and it's great. I also bought the most recent Street Fighter one, Street Fighter Inside Magic the Gathering, because why wouldn't I? That's amazing. And I will find some really good like plastic covers for all the cards and put them on display, because Lord knows I do not know how to play Magic the Gathering. I've tried to get my wife to play with me. She's down. We just don't know how to play it. We have full decks of Magic the Gathering cards, and we don't know what to do with them. One day we'll play it, and we'll play each other, and we won't know if we're losing or winning. We won't know who's doing what right, but we'll have a good time, and that's all that we can ask, right? Go have a good time. So I would port these cards around. I went on another tangent, but you got some good information. You know what projects Secret Identity is working on diligently in our labs. I would port these cards around, and I would take them to school. I would show them to friends, and here I said it was all smiles. This is one frown, but I'm over it. I took my cards to my daycare center. Daycare is in like after school program. There you go. And I was showing a couple friends like this amazing set of cards, all crisp, mint, no bends on the edges. You know those kind of cards where you don't have they're still pointy. Oh, they were beautiful. It was a bunch of X-Men cards. And then I put it in my bag, and then we went to recess, and after recess, my cards were gone. Someone stole, no joke, I would say 25% of my collection. That's a huge chunk. Just a full ass deck of X-Men cards. And I know exactly who took it. He is in jail now. Oddly enough, it wasn't the first time he stole, wasn't the last, and he actually ended up in jail for something way worse than stealing, which we won't get into here. But 25% of my trading cards were stolen, and I mean, I got over it. I mean, I don't think I ever got over it. I'm still kind of sore about that. Those were some really good cards, but of course, life moves on, and the majority of the cards that I have left, I actually have behind me on my shelf. I actually got it back from my mother's house, and I look at them periodically, which is what triggered my need to create these cards again. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do something. I can't say that we'll do Marvel or DC characters. We might have to do secret identity characters. We'll see what we end up being able to do. Got to talk to legal. But I do want to create a set of trading cards, and maybe they'll be battle cards. Nah, they're just going to be stat cards. We're going old school with it, and we'll have special limited edition decks from different artists. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a nice design project that everyone should love. That's kind of everything I wanted to say about it. Kind of a short episode, but that's fine. I guess to close it out, I would say I'll pose a question instead of a recommendation. What started your fandom? How did you fall in love with something? Who introduced you to your fandom? Was it a friend? Was it your parents? Was it a TV commercial? What triggered you to be interested in whatever you're interested in? It could be like, oh, my older sister gave me the first Harry Potter book, and now I'm a Harry Potter head. Or my cousin came over and used to bring Smash Brothers, and now I'm a pro Smash Brothers player. I don't know what it is, but share your stories with us. You can share it in the comments below. You can find us on social media that I don't remember yet. Oh, you can find us on Instagram right now. It's Secret Identity INC. We'll make sure that kind of sticks around. If it changes, we'll put it in the show notes. But right now, Secret Identity INC on Instagram. You can, I don't know how Instagram works. Maybe we'll do a TikTok. We'll start a TikTok, and you guys can reply. We'll do some episodes on TikTok. But yes, let me know how your fandom began. Let me know how it's going, and let me know how it's changed your life. I know this sort of thing, this deck of cards really, I won't say it refocused my life or put me on some sort of specific path, but it definitely influenced everything that I liked. And I was so blissfully happy collecting trading cards and watching cartoons and falling in love with superheroes. I avoided a lot of negativity that I could have just as easily fallen into. So again, I won't say it saved my life, because I was fine, but it certainly put me on a path that I'm way happier now than I feel I would have been had I not had superheroes and trading cards and video games in my life. And hopefully I can do the same that my mother did for me, that I can do. I hope I can do for my kids what my mother did for me. So again, Mom, if you're listening, I love you. And number 2, I love you again. And number 3, thank you for making me the nerd that I am, because now I'm on a podcast talking about nerdy stuff. Thank you everyone for listening. I truly appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful whatever the hell day, evening. Just have some fun, enjoy your fandom, and I'll talk to you next time.